which is x-axis, is pointing into the bone, and in our second joint hierarchy we can see that z-axis, which is blue in color, is pointing opposite to the bone. What is this for? If you once again go to the joint options, you can see that we have changed the orientation of our joints. In first bone we saw that with reset tool there was XYZ coordinate system of orientation of these joints, and when we changed the orientation system to the none, there was no more x-axis pointing into the bone, but this time z-axis was oppositely pointing to backward of the bone. So what is the orientation for? Before we try to understand the orientation in depth, you should see the joint hierarchies in hypergraph. Hypergraph is a rich tool of Maya which shows you the hierarchies details. Go to the window, animation editors, hypergraph hierarchy. Here we go. You can see that in hypergraph we have two joints. We drew two joint chains, and we have two joint chains in our hypergraph, and we can examine the chains as well as at the same time in our perspective view and in our hypergraph. We have two joints, two joint chains. Let's go ahead in more depth. Simply delete both of the joint chains that we have created right now, and again go to the side view. This time double click the joint tool and change the orientation to the none. Yes, that's right, and start creating a joint chain. Click once for first joint and again for the second, hit enter. And here is the next point to remember: adding joint. How we add the joint into our already created joint chain. As you know that we have pressed the enter key and our joint chain is complete now. And so how we'll add? Simply click the joint tool, and then from where you want to add the joint into your joint chain, click the joint, desired joint. When you will click the joint, it will automatically be selected, and then again click at your required position. Now you have added a joint into the already created joint chain. Complete the joint chain by clicking once again and hit enter. And this is the time to view our joint chain in graph editor, as we have maximized the graph editor. Go to the view menu of the graph editor and choose frame all. We have 4 joints and we can see them in our graph editor right now. Joint 1, 2, 3, 4. The thing is to remember here that joint 1 is the parent of all. Joint 2 is the son of joint 1, is the child of joint 1, and parent of joint 3 and joint 4. And joint 3 is only the parent of joint 4, and it is the child of joint 2, as the joint 2 is the child of joint 1. That's called joints chain or joints hierarchy.